All right, are you ready for this? We are diving deep, deep into Thou Mayest Prosper. I know, the title might sound a little, uh, you know, but you're all about self-improvement, crushing it financially, and this book, let me tell you, it's got a unique take on all of that.
Yeah, it does have that kind of old school vibe, doesn't it? But here's the thing, even if you're not like a religious person, the seed principle the book talks about, it's packed with some seriously practical wisdom. Seriously.
It really is. The author, Abraham Steve, he starts off with this metaphor. Picture this, a tiny little seed, right?
hmm
And inside that seed, the potential for this massive tree, that's you, that's totally you. All these gifts, talents, ideas just bursting to come out.
And what I find so interesting is that it's not just some feel-good motivational stuff. This is about like really figuring out what you excel at, what problems in life really get you going, what solutions just seem to come naturally to you.
It's like, what's your superpower? What's that thing you just do that other people are like, whoa, how did you do that?
Exactly. The book even uses this example of Adam, Adam and Eve, back in the Garden of Eden. Adam's naming all the animals. It's like, even way back then, using your skills to create order, to make sense of the world, that was important.
That is such a good point. We don't often think about those things. Those things we're just naturally good at, but they're often the key to unlocking so much more.
They really are. And sometimes we can get so caught up in what we think we should be doing, we forget about the incredible talents we already have.
Okay, so we've got all this potential, right?
Huh.
But here's the thing. It's not enough to just know what we're good at. It's like, I've got this amazing sports car in my garage, but if I never, ever drive it, what's the point?
Right, you got to take it for a spin. The book makes it clear, seeing your potential. That's step one. That's just the beginning. It's like a farmer. You can have the most fertile land, perfect soil, but if you don't plant anything, tend to it, put in the work, nothing's going to grow.
Time to get our hands a little dirty, right? But what does that actually look like, this whole cultivating thing? What are we really talking about here?
And that's what I love. It's different for everyone. It's about finding what works for you. Maybe it's taking that coding class you've been thinking about, finally learning how to play the guitar. Or maybe it's, I don't know, sharing your amazing poetry with the world instead of just your cat. It's about taking action.
Taking action. I love that. And speaking of taking action, there's this line from the book that really hit me. It says, in the language of this book, what you have is not just for you. Serve others with it and watch your life experience true prosperity. What do you think about that?
I think that's huge. It's so easy to get caught up in our own little worlds, our own goals. But that idea of using what we have to help others, that's where things get really interesting.
It's like, it's not just about personal gain, it's about making a difference, right?
That's it. It's about understanding that true prosperity, and I'm not just talking about money here, it often comes from adding value to the world around us. It's about taking those seeds of talent we've been talking about and using them to, make things a little brighter.
And that doesn't have to be some grand, huge gesture. It can be as simple as helping a coworker with a project, volunteering in your community, even just being a supportive friend. Just those small acts of service, that's where the magic happens.
I totally agree. It's about recognizing that we're all connected and that even the smallest acts of kindness can have a ripple effect. It's funny. We were just talking about taking action, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes the most important action you can take is actually patience.
Oh, patience. That's a tough one.
Oh,
Especially these days, right? Everything's instant gratification. Like I order something online and I'm already checking the mailbox.
yeah, I feel you. But that's why I love this book. It makes such a good point about this whole instant gratification thing. It uses this analogy of a seed. You can't just like yell at an acorn and expect it to turn into a giant oak tree overnight.
Definitely not.
It takes time. Those seeds, they need to, work their way down into the soil, put down roots, really get settled before they can even think about growing tall and strong. And our own journeys, our own paths to growth, they're kind of like that too, aren't they?
It really makes you think, how often are we expecting these overnight miracles, these instant transformations, when maybe, just maybe, what we really need is a little more patience with ourselves, with our goals, with our lives?
It's such a powerful question. And you know what? I'll admit I'm totally guilty of it too. I'm always like, come on, universe, hurry up with those results, whether it's in my work, creative projects, whatever. But we've got to remember that acorn, right? Trust the process, nurture our own little seeds, and give them the time and space they need to actually flourish.
You know what else really struck me? That whole thing about the seed needing the right environment to grow. It's not enough to just, like, throw a seed on the ground and hope for the best, right?
Oh, you're talking about the soil. That's another brilliant metaphor from the book.
It is. It got me thinking about, like, what's my soil? What are those values, the people, the communities, even the beliefs that are either helping me grow or, well, maybe holding me back a little?
It's about being really intentional about the environment we create for ourselves, isn't it? Like,
Mhm.
where can we put down roots and feel both challenged and supported at the same time? And I thought it was interesting how the book connected that to a spiritual element, like
Right.
aligning yourself with a higher purpose. Even if someone isn't coming at it from a religious perspective, it still makes sense, you know?
Totally. It's
Yeah.
like finding that thing, that purpose that's bigger than yourself, something that gives your life meaning and fuels your passions.
Right.
Because if you're not passionate, why bother?
Right. Exactly. It's about uncovering those core values that really resonate deep down, those things that make life feel truly meaningful and act as this like inner compass that guides our choices. And you know what I love about this book? It doesn't just throw all these big ideas at you and then leave you hanging. It actually gives you practical tools.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The journaling. That was a good one. Sometimes, you just need to get out of your own head for a minute.
For sure. The book suggests actually taking the time to write down your seeds, like literally making a list of your strengths, those problem-solving skills we talked about, your passions, all of it.
It's such a simple exercise, but so powerful when you actually do it.
Mm.
Take a step back, really look at what you've got going for you, where you want to go, and how you might get there. It's like creating a roadmap for cultivating your own potential.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be this big, overwhelming thing. Even just like 15 minutes a day, writing down your goals, brainstorming ideas, whatever works for you.
Totally. It's like that saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. It's never too late to start nurturing those seeds.
Hmm.
It's funny, this book, it's all about financial prosperity, right? Like, thou mayest prosper. The title kind of gives it away.
It does, doesn't it?
But this whole seed principle thing, it feels like it applies to way more than just money. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. That's what's so powerful about it, I think. It's not just about finances, it's about relationships. It's about your own personal growth, creativity, your health, really any area of life where you're looking to, level up.
So you can plant that seed metaphor anywhere you want to see some serious growth. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's a really important takeaway here, that growth, real abundance, it usually starts with something small, a seed. It might be an intention you set, the effort you put in, even just a belief you hold on to, but whatever it is, it's something you nurture over time. You give it what it needs to grow.
So it's less about some overnight miracle, some quick fix, and more about those consistent actions we take day after day that lead to real change.
Yes. And honestly, sometimes those small steps, they can feel kind of insignificant, like, am I really making a difference here?
Yeah.
But over time, they build on each other. They have this compounding effect. Think about it like planting a garden. You wouldn't expect to just water your plants once and have a full-blown harvest the next day, right?
No way. Gardening is a long game.
Exactly. Just like life. And that means sometimes we need to be patient, especially with ourselves, especially when we hit roadblocks, because let's face it, we all do.
Oh, for sure.
But you know what? Those challenges, they're not setbacks. They're actually huge opportunities for growth.
Okay, I love that. So instead of looking at a challenge as this big, scary roadblock, what if we started seeing it as a chance to plant new seeds?
Yes. What if instead of asking, why me? Why is this happening? We asked, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to become even stronger?
This whole deep dive has really got me thinking differently, I gotta say. It's like if every challenge is an opportunity to plant a new seed, to learn something, to grow a little, imagine what kind of amazing garden we could create?
I love that image, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Embracing the journey, nurturing those seeds of potential we all have within us, and trusting that in time, we'll reap the rewards.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's a little something for you to think about. What seeds are you going to plant today? And how are you going to nurture them to create the life you truly desire? Keep that garden growing, because you never know what incredible things might bloom.